Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. Today I am putting together a artificial pink and white floral bouquet in a teardrop, almost cascading shape. Whew, that was so hard to say. So I start off by prepping my flowers. I've got some baby's breath, I have some tulips, some spray roses, some white roses, some pink roses, some spiral eucalyptus, and some asparagus fern. So I love these pink tulips that I was just holding there. However, their leaves leave a lot to the imagination. So I don't really care for the way that they look or the color, so I peeled those away. I'm doing the same with the roses. You could leave some of the leaves on if you'd like. I like that kind of clean look. If you're going for more of a garden look, you can leave some of those leaves on, look like it's just freshly picked out of the garden. But you do want that clean stem so that it's easy to hang on to. Sorry, my editing thing glitched on me there. Now that everything's all prepped, I'm going to make kind of a base or almost like a frame to weave my flowers into. This way I can keep that teardrop shape. So I'm using that baby's breath. It's got like a nice almost grip to it. If you were to put a flower in it, it's going to hold it up nicely. And plus, it's not going to be my focal flower. I want it more as a filler, so it works out perfectly to do this frame with. I'm not a big fan of tying off the flowers as I go along, especially with hand-tied bouquets. However, I do want to keep that same shape, and I don't want these baby's breath stems to start turning and twisting in my hand, so I tied it off with a little bit of wax floral tape. At the end, I will tie everything together with like a medium gauged floral wire, and then I will cover that wire again with a wax floral tape to make sure that nobody pokes themselves when they're handling the bouquet. Very important to cover your mechanics, and very important to keep your customer safe because you don't want to bleed all over the bouquet. That would be horrible. So I'm starting off with weaving in my pink colored flowers. I kind of went by color rather than flower style. I'm going to try to disperse it evenly throughout the bouquet, keeping that same teardrop shape. I am putting my larger roses towards the center. That's going to be more of my focal point. And I do like to stress that when putting together hand-tied bouquets, artificial or fresh, or even using a floral cage to do it, it's important to have the stems so that they point to one point, all pointing to that same point. So where my hand is, I always like to picture the stems all pointing that same point. And what that does is keeps the harmony throughout the bouquet. If your eye sees that everything is pointing in the same direction and it's very cohesive, the first thing your eye's going to see then is that focal flower that you spent so much money on and that you want to show off so much in your bouquet. What you don't want somebody's eye to look at is two crisscross stems, because that's not pretty. So if you keep that in mind, that as you're adding these floral stems, that you have them all pointing to the same point, it just helps keep the harmony in the bouquet. Now that I've put in my pink flowers, I'm going to start tucking in the white flowers. And one thing that's really cool about white, like I love all colors, but when you add white to an arrangement, it just brightens it up. And I don't know if you remember what it looked like before I started adding the white, although it was still pretty, got the baby's breath, the pink flowers. It was a little bit dark. And as soon as the white roses are added, it really brightens up the bouquet. And I worked at a wonderful flower shop, and the owner there would always say, adding white makes an arrangement happy, and I 100% agree. And I will forever say that, because I think that's a great statement, and the proof is right here. Once you start adding those white flowers, really filling in the dark space, it really does make it almost more happy, if that's a possibility. So along with the bigger flowers, I am going to weave in those white spray roses I was prepping at the beginning of the video there. And it's just going to add a little bit of texture. Because I do want that texture, I'm going to keep those spray roses towards the top of the bouquet. so that there's kind of some up and downs to it. The spray roses are, they're a bright white, but they're not going to conflict with the large pink roses that are going to be my focal flowers. It just gives it a little bit of depth, a little bit of texture, just another shape to the bouquet to make it interesting. And so once I have everything all kind of lined up, I'm going to start fluffing. Always fluffing. I'm going to make a t-shirt that says always fluffing because I feel like I'm always doing that. Pulling the stems out, adding stuff, moving things around. That's the beauty of working with artificial flowers, is that you can really work on them and you don't have to worry about them wilting or dying, or, well, I guess they could break on you, but you can always hot glue them if they do break. So I do like using artificial flowers. There's many benefits to it. And another is if you are doing your wedding flowers on your own or for somebody else, you can make them ahead of time. And that's something you can cross off your list. You don't have to worry about it. It's all ready to go. And I just really like artificial flowers. Now, oh, there's one that broke, but we'll just replace it. But yeah, nowadays they really make them look lifelike. So once that's all set, I'll give it a little tie off, and then we'll trim up the stems. You could do a stem wrap too, if you'd like. And I'll leave a link in the descriptions for floral tape and floral wire that you can purchase on Amazon. But I think we're coming towards the end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.